All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is the Wireheads podcast. We are here on my channel exclusively this week because of the technical limitations of all of it. So, hello, everybody. Welcome in chat. We are very, very happy to be joined by John the Wise this week. John, thank you for joining us.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
No, absolutely. No, it's, I was telling you beforehand, but chat, like we were talking a little bit before as we were kind of setting up. It's been, you're one of the big reasons that I am kind of even part of the community. So it's kind of cool to come full circle and have you on the stuff we're making.
Well, dude, hey, it's an honor, man. I'm glad that I was able to help in any way with my videos or content or my community. You also bring a lot of positivity to the community. Both of you guys do. So I'm very grateful for that. So it just like, it pays for itself, dude.
No, I appreciate it. No. So I am curious, way back, because like you've been making content. You're one of the longest standing Cyberpunk content creators like in the community. So I think it would be wrong not to ask what inspired you originally, I guess, to kind of like make that jump into the online sphere and start making content when there really wasn't much of a sphere for Cyberpunk in particular at the time.
Yeah, so I was a big fan and still am a big fan of a lot of the those like D&D YouTubers or Game Master YouTubers like Seth Skorkowski, who I became friends with, and Guy Sklanders, How to Be a Great GM. I've also became friends with him, and they have some really cool content on their channel talking about different tabletop RPGs, philosophical things, really diving deep into what a game master is. And it's one of those things, it's like so deep and niche because not everybody's a game master and not everybody really wants to get that deep. Sometimes they'll just run a module, but for those that like want to study it kind of like it's a subject in school, those guys like provided that, you know. Seth provided and it was entertaining as well. So like Seth was like really entertaining with his like his skits and his cool stories. You could tell he's had a lot of experience and he has a lot of wisdom, while Guy Sklanders was offering a lot of kind of lectures. It was like he was like kind of like a professor, you know what I mean? And he had it at that angle, and it was cool to like just get their wisdom, you know, and like extract their wisdom. And then I realized, like, you know, we don't really have anybody doing that for Cyberpunk. Seth had like a few videos because he loves Cyberpunk 2020, played many years of it, but it wasn't his main focus. He's not the type of guy to just focus on one thing. He likes many different things and he's successful that way. But I was like feeling that nostalgia for Cyberpunk because I had played it with my buddy, and that the video game was coming out soon, or the talk of it was, I think it was like 3 years out from the game coming out or something like that, maybe 4 years out.
Right.
But everybody was talking about it, and I'm like, dude, I can't believe people are talking about this game, this like obscure 90s RPG game that me and my friend played in his room one-on-one for months. You know, like even the people that were doing tabletop RPGs weren't playing Cyberpunk. They were playing D&D, dude. Everybody was playing D&D, and I'm over here playing Cyberpunk, you know? And now people are talking about it. So all that hype and everything all put together really just like inspired me to just start making videos, you know? So I started making videos, and I didn't really think anything of it, but the positivity I got from the community right away is nothing that I ever felt in my 4 years of doing Twitch streams, you know, almost daily. I just didn't feel that overwhelming positivity as I did when I started doing Cyberpunk. Like, people were like, dude, finally people are making content. Like, I love this, make more, you know? And I just went with it, dude. I went with it, got really close with Artel Saurian Games because once again, I'm like one of the only people doing it. And so they helped me a lot. They really helped me get my name out there. And then, you know, of course, we collaborated so many times after that. And now it is what it is. Like, we created this beautiful community with all these creators like you guys that just love the game, want to talk about the game. I don't really see any general toxicity happening in our gaming circle, which is crazy if you think about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Every gaming circle has like toxicity, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, someone's saying like you have to do it this way or that way, and like to be fair, like to be entirely fair, there is just a little every now and then that you see like pop up of like, oh, this is overpowered or that's like not powerful enough. But like for the most part, I would argue ours definitely feels like it's one of the healthiest I've seen where that's concerned.
It's one of the first like major engines also like groups that I've come into where it's like there isn't a stereotype when it comes to specific players at tables, because honestly, compared to D&D tables, every Cyberpunk table I've been to, it's a mixed bag who you're gonna get, and it's usually a pretty good one. And also John, the way I discovered you, actually, I was watching because I followed Guy Slanders, and he was talking about Cyberpunk, and I'm like, okay, let's have a look, and that's how I found some of your work. And between you and a few other people, Seth, and a few other networks, like one I used to stream for, that's kind of how I came up into the mix, and I'm actually really happy to finally sit down with you. One of my other questions I do have for you, when it comes down to it, you've played both did you play Black Box Cyberpunk or Cyberpunk 2020?
Black Box was the original, right? That was the starter box. I didn't play the starter box. I believe I played second edition.
Right.
2020. Okay. That's the first time I ever played Cyberpunk 2020. Was second edition.
Like making the jump from 2020 to Red. You've talked about it before, but I suppose to catch up with everyone, what was it like moving from 2020 over to Red when 2020 rolled around and Cyberpunk Red? Gosh, that is a weird way to try to phrase it.
No, but I get what you're saying, like just switching systems like that, because it was like a 20-year-old system by then, or 25. I don't even know what the numbers are, but it was like old dude, 90s, a game from the 90s. And it was a breath of fresh air for me because I had played D&D 5e, and I was like, man, this like simplification or streamlinedness would be cool if it could be in Cyberpunk somehow. You know what I mean? And I wasn't the only one that thought that. R. Telsorian Games thought the same thing, and that's why they made Cyberpunk Red. But basically, every single Cyberpunk 2020 game that I was ever a part of had so much homebrew stacked into it, depending who you were with, like crazy amounts, just because everybody has their own way of how they fix the game. You know what I mean? And that's why people still play 2020 to this day. They won't play Red because they're like, dude, I spent 20 years crafting this homebrew kind of system going on with 2020. Yeah. And that's what they like. You know what I mean? I think that I prefer for things to move faster. You know what I mean? I never got to try the net running for 2020 to this day, but I've done the net running for Red plenty of times. You know what I mean? So, in my mind, 2020 is a really fun, great game, but Red made it more fun for me to enjoy the cyberpunk worlds that we're in, because we could just move and I don't really have to worry about slowing down the game.
Right. Well, and I think not necessarily a complaint, but I think it's been commentary I've heard from people who because there's always like a bit of a debate, I think, in the community from the people who are like, I came in with Red, like the early days of Red, admittedly, like the Jumpstart kit, but like that was my like introduction to the game as a whole, and it's there's this discussion I've seen before of like how do you capture some of the elements of what made 2020 special in terms of like, okay, like, I know this is a comment I think even you've made on some of your videos, where it's like, in 2020, every gun has a brand. Every bit of clothing has like branding, and like it's impressive if someone comes in with like a Minami 10 as opposed to just a heavy SMG standard quality, you know, like, so while some things have been done since to kind of address that element of it, I know there are some that would that have taken it where they argue like, okay, is red a good solution to some of the things that like 2020 had? Because 2020 also had a massive issue where like you optimized and power gamed, there was almost nothing that could rein players in super quickly. Whereas in red, it feels like everything has been very carefully considered. Like we always talk in my group about like, okay, you know, people are like, oh, I don't want to go too far in power game. I'm like, if you try, I have all kinds of tools I can use to rein you in. Like in D&D, I would be worried about that. In Cyberpunk, never. So I'm kind of curious, like, what your opinion is on some of that as well when it comes to like game master
power gaming.
Yeah, power gaming as it relates to the differences between those systems and kind of where you fall.
Yeah, in 2020 there was like certain combos that you can do that just made you like insane. There was like martial arts plus a cyber leg. It was like the easiest way to do like 7 or 9 d6 damage, ignoring half armor. You know what I mean? Because the cyber leg gives you additional d6 to your damage. The martial art gives you additional d6, and like you just stack them, and you're just going around kicking people's heads off. Like, you know what I mean? And that's just like the easiest way to be overpowered. So the other thing about 2020 is if I'm point blank and I auto fire you, you're dead. I don't care who your character is. I don't care how much armor they have. I don't care anything. They're dead. I'll dump 30 rounds into you. You're dead. So that's how easily you could die in the game as well. So I don't know. I think maybe some people played it. That's why I'm talking about like there was so much homebrew. Because in my games, I was like, okay, we're going to curb that. You know what I mean? You can only do like this much maximum damage. In other games, they were like, okay, make the most powerful character that you want, but I'm going to kill you right away. So like the GM is like the adversary, you know what I mean?
Right. So they take a very Mike Pondsmith kind of approach where it's like, I will kill your Cyberpunk character.
Yeah, there's certain groups that think it's awesome when all the you know party gets TPK'd, you know what I mean? There's other groups like where we cry for like 2 days before we ever come back and play, you know what I mean? But it's that's just the way it is. But another thing I'd like to say is anytime I was making a Cyberpunk 2020 character, the game master would drop like 7 books in my lap and go like, okay, pick an assault rifle. And I'm like, and he's like, oh, and like a secondary, and like if you want a knife too. Okay. And I'm just like, okay, there's like 1,000 assault rifles, dude, between these 7 or 8 books. What's good? This one's like 4d6 plus 3, but that one's 3d6 plus 2, but rate of fire 2. And it's like on and on. There was even like I think one of them was 1d10, 2d10 for the damage as well. There was like d10 damage sniper rifles. So like all that was just, you know, in my head, and I'm like, dude, just give me the one that looks like a cop would have, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know what else to do. So now fast forward to red, and they're like, hey, forget all that. Assault rifles do like basically this amount of damage, and you just say whatever assault rifle you have, you know what I mean, or you want to have. So there's pros and cons to both, you know what I mean? I think it's cool when you open a chest and it's like, oh yeah, here's a Federation Arms sniper rifle, and I got it from this book, and these are like, this is its stat block. You could like learn the history of the gun right there, you know what I mean? There's something really cool to that too that I miss, you know? But, you know, go ahead.
Yeah, which I do think Toggle's Temple does go and revisit a little bit, where you know, they find some of the beloved weapons of, you know, the time of 2020, and then, you know, bring them up to their current, you know, status. You know, nixing, sadly, you know, Old Guns Never Die kind of gets a little bit undercut on that one. But they also talk about like why certain weapons don't have the same capabilities they used to. Sort of like the Militech Bulldog and the Arasaka Rapid Assault, which I remember from the few times I had sat at a table where we were playing 2020. Those things were automatic shotguns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's just a different game, man. It's a different game.
Which
you know,
I appreciate that, like, you know, there's like a static metric that the weapons do go by, but there are, you know, the exotic weapons and different touches that, you know, give some of these weapons their character. Yeah. But also, I do feel that, you know, the need for brand. It's more like you mentioned, Emmerron, like walking in with an Arasaka Minami 20 versus, you know, whatever, you know, Gunmart. I don't even know if Gunmart makes SMGs.
To be fair, I appreciate anyone who walks into anywhere with a Gunmart anything, because it's immediately like, this guy knows how to have fun. Like, this guy doesn't care about min-maxing anything. They just care about having a good time.
It's a status symbol, dude. You know what I mean? Like having a crazy weapon or not having a crazy weapon. Having one that can be concealed when usually it's not supposed to be concealed. Now you have to like get a tech to do it, and now like you have all the creativity to make it whatever you want it to be. But there's nothing to discover if I could just make whatever I want. You know what I mean?
Sure.
The discovery is gone. Now it's like just you be creative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
there is something to be said about that for sure. Because I know like that's probably one of the more attractive elements of Dungeons and Dragons and games like it is like you go into some deep, dark crypt that hasn't been explored in hundreds of years and pull out some magical sword that has an air of mystique to it that like, it gets challenging. I feel like even with brands and things like that to maybe like fully get there in Cyberpunk, just because it's a very different kind of game. But I know that that's an issue I've seen with other like more rules light games or slimmed down games where it's like, yes, we're gonna like flatten statistics and stuff to keep this like very understandable. I do agree though with Diamond that I think toggles has helped in some ways there, at least, where it's like, okay, and Black Chrome too, and I'm really curious to see what Rusted Chrome is going to bring us when the time comes.
Yeah, no, the supplements really helped out a lot and added a lot. Black Chrome is a big one, you know, for sure. Yeah,
just to spice things up a little bit, where it's like, okay, here's the where your imagination can maybe begin to connect some of these other things that we're putting in front of you. We've given you a template, use it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just need a way to like sift through all those DLCs and everything now, because it's like almost like the Cyberpunk 2020 problem again.
Oh yeah,
there's so many DLCs.
We've looped back. I mean,
I got something for you. It's called Interface. Yeah. Anyway, I can't wait to see this next one though.
Yeah,
it's
a good one.
Yeah. So when you've played Cyberpunk, because like how often have you ended up a player instead of the GM and at your table? Like, is that something you commonly get to play, or are you usually the...
No, honestly, it's not common. Most of the games that I've played, I was the game master. I used to want to be a player, but then I fell in love with being a game master, and I don't mind being a game master. It's just as fun for me.
Sure.
Sometimes it's even more fun, especially if I have like a really inspiring idea where I'm like, dude, I can't wait to put them through this idea, you know what I mean? And see what happens. Because once you become a little bit more relaxed and like confident in what you can do as a game master, and you're there, then you could just like actually have fun.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, once you get over that anxiety.
I've always said, like, you have one of the greatest like privileges as a game master that has nothing to do with your control over the game or anything. It's, you know, that character that you're like, as a player, you're sitting there like, okay, if my current character dies, which they won't forever if this is your mentality, right? If this character dies, I have a new character. It's a great concept. Really excited to try it. And you're like very excited about this new character that you're thinking about. And then the opportunity takes months, if it ever comes at all, for you to get the chance. Like, well, as a GM, I get to play anyone I want on a weekly basis. So like, as long as I can make it make sense, I can just play a new character whenever I want to. Like, sometimes
I'm just like, okay, they need a piece of information from a person in a place. I know who the person is. I know where the place is. I maybe hinted at them, or they found out through a contact that person is at this place. But I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how they're going to extract that information. I didn't plan for any of it. I just know that this person is there and they have the information. They might even leave. You know, if the players don't ask this person in time, that person might just leave. I might decide that too. You know what I mean? So I just wait. If I don't have to think about it, I just let them figure it out. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And that's the fun of it. That's the total fun of it. It's like they're taking you on a ride. You know what I mean?
So given that sort of mentality toward it, I'm curious, when it comes to writing adventures, do you have one, like an archetype of an adventure or gig type that you like more than others when you're writing, or are you pretty like mixed on it all? Like you can write just about anything and be pretty comfortable with it.
So it depends what kind of game I'm trying to play. If I'm trying to do like a short form one shot, yeah, I have this one in my pocket, like it's a retrieval mission, and we could talk about it. I'll tell you about it right now. But if I'm gonna do a campaign, like a legit campaign with players over a long period of time, I like to base the story on their backstories. I look at all of their backstories. I see if there's a common thread. I see how they can mix and match with each other. Which one is the most compelling, where all the other players will be like, oh yeah, dude, this guy killed your wife. Like, yeah, we gotta kill him. You know what I mean? So, and then along the way, the other people's backstories get involved too. So we kind of resolve their backstories at the same time. And then there's some players, this is why session 0 is important, that they're like, look, you know, we don't have to go through the lore of my character. You know, I just like playing. I like rolling dice. And that person, you're cool, like kind of putting them on the back a little bit and maybe sprinkling their backstory in here and there and not focusing too much. Yeah. So you do all that, and once you get like that perfect meld, the campaign just goes. And you're like, I know how it's gonna end. They gotta kill the guy that killed the wife. They just discovered that the wife is dead in the beginning, so I just have to figure out what happens in the middle.
right. Yeah, like that was me like last season of the actual play that I'm running. It was like, okay, this character, her father's the head of like a giant protection corporation. Like, that's probably a boss at some point, if not the boss, right? But it's just figuring out, where do they get involved? How do they get involved? And yeah, like you said, a lot of that's a toss-up until you know the characters better. But I am curious about that retrieval mission.
Oh, dude! So this is the perfect one-shot. All right.
Okay.
The setup is the players. They all know each other, and they're sent on a mission. You know, they don't have to be best friends. They're coworkers. They're like, hey, we need a sniper. Hey, we need a net runner. And that's why all of them are together. You know what I mean?
Right.
They get called to a corporate center. They go into a meeting. In the meeting is another group of NPCs that are a gang. And they kind of like posture against the players and like, you know, taunt them, maybe like say some dumb things to each other, and maybe even like get close to coming to blows. And then the corporate walks in and says like, hey, settle down. I got a job for you guys. All right. You know, be professional. So everybody gets the two groups get a box. And he says, these are very important prototypes. You are not allowed to open the box. They are very expensive, very important prototypes. We are entrusting you to deliver it to this other place. We will know if you open the box. And if you do, we will send a hit squad towards you to retrieve the package. Okay? Yeah. So the players, you know, depending what they do, their box, this is like the secret. The secret is the player's box is empty. Okay? The other gang members actually have the prototype. So once they open the box, which they will, the corporates are notified, and they tell the players who hopefully didn't open the box, but even if they did, they said like, you know, we have entrusted you to go and retrieve the prototype from that other gang. Right. So they kind of get like then it's like a speed chase, like the other gang is looking for them because they're like, oh, there's two prototypes. We can make so much money. Let's get their prototype. You know what I mean? So they're coming after the players too. So no matter what, like, you get all the beats. You get the socializing, you get the fighting, you get the car chase, and then you get paid at the end, you know? So that's my retrieval mission.
That's really fun, because I always bring in like, because to use something pre-written to like be like, okay, we can just keep this nice and simple. Red Chrome Cargo is one of my favorites, and it kind of in a similar vein, right? Like it follows that same kind of scheme. The corporate angle though, that's clever. I like the corporate angle.
Yeah, never trust the guy in a suit.
And that's something like if someone's unfamiliar with Cyberpunk, I think that's one of the earliest lessons to teach them is don't trust the guy in a suit or the guy with the badge. Both of them will come back and haunt you.
And it introduces them to gangs and like how crazy they'll be. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And
do you have a particular one you usually pick for that?
No, I don't have I think I've always homebrewed one. Okay. But I think one time I did use Red Chrome Legion. Another time I just had them be like just like a regular kind of like gang. Like I just made a name for them, you know, like the Red Machetes or something like that.
Sure.
And they're all like, you know, cybered out, cyber eyes, mohawks, and all kinds of crazy shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the players are whatever they are.
Right.
You know. So yeah.
Speaking of gangs, I just gotta ask, what favorite gang between any of the editions you've played? Like, go-to gang to either deal with or just encounter.
Okay, so I do like the Bozos. I do. If we're talking like original lore, the Bozos are so fun to play because you can play them really sinister and really funny at the same time, and it can be really messed up. Like they're acting all goofy and everything, but then they grab a civilian and like suicide bomb the civilian. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh shit, did I just see that? Like first we were laughing, and then now something like terrible happened. You know what I mean? So you can do, and that's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be like the killer clowns from space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do like the Bozos, but my favorite gangs are homebrew gangs that either other people had or ones that I created. My favorite homebrew gang is the Silver Gloves. What did I call them? The White Glove Gang or something. Basically, they were Michael Jackson poser gangs.
I love this.
They were Michael Jackson poser gang, and the leader looked most like Michael Jackson, and like everybody under him looked like less and less like Michael Jackson, but tried. You know what I mean? So just like role playing them, saying he and like throwing like grenades and stuff like that was so fun, dude. The cult of the White Glove. The Cult of the White Glove.
Cult of the White. Oh, okay. So a little bit of a riff on like the Cult of Elvis and all of that. Okay.
Oh God,
I could see it. Okay.
Yeah, there's an Elvis. There's an Elvis poser gang. Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's where like people always ask about it too, and they're like, okay, so in Red, we haven't seen any lore about the Cult of Elvis. Like, what's going on?
There's one little piece of lore we do get about the Cult of Elvis that supposedly there was a time that was involved with the Cult of Elvis.
That doesn't surprise me, actually. That's
it really doesn't surprise me either.
But they have said more definitively, like, there will be more about the Cult of Elvis, like, in some of the upcoming books. And I'm like, okay, I can finally deep dive this now, because I haven't, like, read nearly enough of 2020 to, like, really digest it. And so I'm like, okay, I'm excited. But that's where I'm like, poser gangs are so fun for exactly that reason, just because you're like, oh, I want to be like absolutely unhinged in this very particular personified way as the GM, and you could be like, I have a group to do that with.
Yeah, and if you do it right, it's funny but also appropriate. It's not like it doesn't take me out of us playing. It's not goofy, you know what I mean? It's funny, but it's still grim. You know what I mean? If you do it the right way, because they have guns and they're killing people and all that.
Right. Well, and then there's also the other side of it too, where there's like the whole entrenched, like, what does it take psychologically to be a group of people will worship some kind of icon or cult of personality in that kind of way, right?
They permanently disfigured themselves, you know what I mean?
Right. And like alter their behavior, and I mean like all kinds of stuff, which is just like, because like we get a tiny taste of that in like Night at the Opera, like what that can kind of look like and feel
Yeah,
like.
with the vampire people.
Well, not just that. I mean, even just what, the end of that, where, like you find out, oh yeah, this guy just wanted to biosculpt this news anchor. And you're like,
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking, like, with the Philharmonics, like, you get those that, have, like, very, casual, vampy looks to them. But then you have others that, because I think, if I remember correctly, I think the master is sculpted after the Bela Lugosi.
Probably.
Probably. Yeah.
No,
that's the whole idea.
It's fun to roleplay, though. That's probably one of my favorite games to roleplay, honestly, every time I've done it. Because I don't use them often at all. But when I do, I just go way over the top. It's like, all right, do you have an inner theater kid? Now is the time. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, they're a prank gang and poser gang, and they're great.
Yeah.
Oh, then we also had the Sinful Atoms as well that we encountered really early on.
Really early on.
And,
yeah, I made some homebrew ones. My game takes place in Texas. I wanted to just do like a whole new place, make my own, little area. I call it Devil's Triangle. But I made the Austin Jesters, which are a wannabe gang that are like the Austin Bozos, basically inspired from Night City, but they're amateurs. You know what I mean? And like they act how they don't know what the Bozos are like. They're just emulating them in the way they think they're supposed to. You know what I mean? So that's their flaw. And they're not like a really serious gang, but they are messed up. They do messed up things.
Yeah. Well, Nyla just joined. So something I was going to say when you were talking about the Bozos earlier, John, is Nyla, because he just joined chat. When he's recently converted to the joys of Cyberpunk Red. And when I started explaining to him, like, yeah, this is the Bozos, this is what they're about. He's like, oh, I could play a bunch of unhinged clowns if I GM? And I'm like, yeah, you could, as a matter of fact. And so he looked at Hilaria as like a template and he's like, wait, I could do all this other stuff. Like they could be like using the multi-reef, like the multi-flex joints that let you like bend your arms backwards and stuff like that, and like could pack them all into a clown car and have them shoot fire out of the flowers. And I'm like, you're thinking like a bozo GM right now. Yes, like 100%.
Yeah, and they like, and you can have that whole thing where they shoot the pistol and the little flag comes out, and then the pistol explodes.
Right.
Like a grenade, and it does 66 damage in a circle
on them. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you could do. That's what I had one where the players knew like there was something up, but there was a guy like crying on their car. He had like his hood up, he had his jacket on, and he's just like leaning on their vehicle and like crying. And they're like, sir, like, hey, they're like, go check it out. They knew this was a trap. You can never fool your players. But they're like, go check that thing out, and then they go, and as soon as they turn the guy around, that's when they see the clown makeup on him.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And then he smiles and he says like, surprise, and then like bozos come out of nowhere and jump everybody. You know what I mean? So that was like one of the ways where I made them sinister and fun, but also super dangerous,
Yep. No, that's that. Oh man, that's so good. So that I guess brings a great question to mind here for you. Of all of the time you've been kind of running Cyberpunk, what is there like one moment you have that's like, that is one of my proudest moments, like that you could singly say like, I am most proud of this thing that I did? Like,
yeah. There is one like really that like comes to mind. This was with the Roll to Cast crew, and you can actually see it. It's on my YouTube. But we did like a 4-shot, 4 episode kind of campaign, and I had them meet an NPC that was like an old grizzled veteran of like the South Am War, and now he's a NCPD cop. And they came from a place that was like one of those like kumbaya communities that was actually going to try to help in Night City, like try to actually help people and be a center for good. and they have an AI that like is a good AI. You know, this is all Phil's from Roll to Cast. It's all his thing. He let me borrow it to basically, you know, I felt like I did it justice. I didn't try to overstep his things. So this guy basically, he's a cop, and he's like the commanding officer there, and he tells them like, I don't like you guys. You know, you think you're so good up there in that tower, and looking down on everybody and pretending like you're doing something to help the world or something like that. It's all bullshit. So he just like goes off on his own, and then they hear that he's in trouble. You know, he was gonna have them arrested, he was gonna have them taken in. If it wasn't for the police that were there that basically didn't follow his orders, then they would have been in jail. So the police that were there were like refused to take his orders because they didn't agree with him. And so he left on his own, and then he was ambushed by gangers on his own. You know, he's a cop on his own, he's ambushed. So he calls in for backup, and the police are like, we're not going. And I let the players decide. I'm like, you guys could just like not go, who cares? You know, it's not your problem. But they went and like, you know, had to use the cryo bag to like save his life and everything, and got him out of there. So that was one of those like, just like, dude, they were arguing with each other. One of the players was like, why are we going? This guy is an asshole. Like, he was gonna have us arrested. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was my proudest moment.
Right.
That's how you score a favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he made a speech at the end of the I like did the like camera pans out, and you see him with a sling and a cigarette in his mouth, and he's part of their community now. So like, he joins their community, you know what I mean? So like, that was like the end of the campaign.
That's so cool though. Okay, yeah, no. That would be a proud moment. Yeah. You can just tell the way that you're talking about that too. That it's just like, oh man, that is cool.
Yeah. But it was cool. I let them decide, you know, like what they want to do. And like, they really like, you know, one of them was like, do we do the right thing? The other one was like, I don't know. And the other one's like, we don't do the right thing. This is Cyberpunk. You know what I mean?
We're edge runners. What do we care? Like,
yeah. It's not our problem. People die every day, which is true, you know, in Cyberpunk.
Right. I mean, yeah, there's the grim reality, right?
Yeah. Life is cheap in Cyberpunk.
So,
what about you guys?
Oh gosh, proudest moment. You know what, Emmerron, I'll let you take this one.
Let me take lead on this. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you time to think.
I've got one. It's just
Okay.
I'm gonna let you pick up on this one here.
So I think, weirdly enough, thank you for the sub. I think weirdly enough, probably. So back in the Jumpstart kit, it was me and my my original GM has started making content actually on Cyberpunk now after me, which is really weird that we did it in that order. But his name's Phantom. Like, you could see him in some of his stuff. But he was running for the Jumpstart kit. There was a campaign that we were all part of, and it was like 6 months into that, I'm like, I'm going to start running this. And he and I agreed on a ton of the homebrew, like progression and stuff, because none of that was in that kit. So we're like, okay, neither one of us had much of an experience at all with 2020. So we didn't know any of that.
Yeah, I did the same thing. We converted our 2020 game to the Jumpstart kit red rule. It was like the most like Frankenstein thing that you'd ever seen in your life.
It was offensive in some ways, I'm sure, from a design standpoint for us at least. We're just like, if someone else was looking in on this, they're like, what are you doing?
We were just so excited to try it, dude.
No, exactly. Everyone, I think, in the community back then, I remember every time someone like you, or there were a bunch of creators who had like campaigns where they could play, or one shots where they could play with the core rules, and every time me and like all my GM friends would be like, write that down. Like, there's implication there. Write that down.
Oh, dude, that's cool.
But it was like, so we were homebrewing this. We kind of came up with rules we agreed on. Anytime a new situation would pop up, he and I would consult each other. So that to say, we spend like 6 months with me and my original group going through a campaign where I didn't know nearly as much about Cyberpunk then as I know now, and I'm just winging it, like 90% of it. But for what it's worth, I felt really good about the vibes, even once I learned what I was doing. So I'm like, oh yeah, like this feels good. And so because we knew the campaign couldn't continue to the full rules because it was just like so hackneyed, so homebrewed, and we're like, okay, we're gonna close this hard. So what did the players decide to do? Well, what every good Cyberpunk player knows is you drop nukes on buildings at some point.
Of course.
So the party
briefcase
had
nuke.
Right. So they had one of them in their backstory had a bit of a grudge with Biotechnica. And their fixer, who unbeknownst at the time to them, was actually like a soul-killed AI who'd taken this guy over through a chip. So yeah, playing all of that before 2077 came out, by the way, just to be clear about that.
That's crazy.
So we do that, and we're like, okay, we're gonna play this, and he's like, I want that building taken down, and like he had his own reasons for it. The party's like, we don't all agree. It was the same thing. There's like disagreement internally, but they're like, we will do this for you, but after this, we're done. And so they go up, they do the gig, the building comes down. And they're like screaming on the front end of the blast wave out on an AV4. And like there's drama in midair. They're catching each other from falling out and really cool stuff. The drama, the action was all 100%. Like there's a point where they ran in like early on in an alleyway. They encountered a father and his kid. They're like, you got to get out of here because they knew what was coming. And then the bomb drops. They land safely a few miles away and they can just see this thing rising in the over the skyline, and the fixer reveals the grand deception, pays them, but says, thank you, I have to come clean, this is my real motivation, is what I do. And the party, all like half of them were like, thank you for the money, please tell us if you have another gig. The other half were like, go screw yourself, we never want to do anything with you ever again. And one of the characters just chose like, they're like, I can't live with this. And they like ended themselves right then and there. I'm like,
oh shit.
This is crazy. Like, yeah, just the amount of chaos in the wake was like, I was so proud of that. I was like, this is, because it felt right.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you split the party philosophically like that, that means you did it right, dude.
Exactly.
That means you did it right.
So that's one of the things I'm proudest of, probably in my Cyberpunk career.
That's cool.
Oh gosh, for me, I think it was finally. This was a very recent one I had talked to Emmerron about. Now, I was thinking about like the ending of Control Alt Delete, where I had you guys make some very tough choices on who had to stay behind and who was going to save their own skin, that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, my first homegrown cyber psycho. I have a group and that has been playing with me, and we have a solo who has been chroming themselves all the way down to 20 humanity max.
Max.
Yeah.
And
then the CEMK comes out, and everyone's just like, yeah, these humanity rules are fantastic. I'd like to be able to actually restore humanity without having to, bunny hop in and out of therapy every other week. Like, I mean, you guys don't drain that much humanity that quick, but. Finally, one of these guys, they would live that super cheap lifestyle of Cube Hotel and Kibble, save all that money, spend it on weapons, spend it on cyberware, spend it on surgery, spend it on therapy, more surgery, therapy, more surgery, therapy, and it was an endless, brutal cycle until here a few weeks ago, when finally they snapped. They finally hit, and they hit when I did the final roll, the final results. And Emmerron, I don't know if I ever told you.
You didn't. I'm curious.
with all the different stuff that they had been involved in, including becoming mortally wounded, or no, not mortally wounded, critically
like
injured
seriously
3
wounded
times.
multiple times or whatever.
Yep, seriously wounded
Yeah.
multiple times. They ticked off so many boxes. -20 humanity.
Oh my god.
Because we were
You're
doing so
no longer human.
not at all, and that's like she and I were talking about this.
Forearms, heavy martial arts,
Oh my
heavy
God.
weapons, auto fire. Like they dumped their points in so many things. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah,
For
the
this new
flesh is
killing
weak,
machine.
dude. The flesh is weak.
The flesh is weak, and you've given me a great boss for later. Well,
My first homegrown Cyber Psycho. Very happy about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. I haven't had a player go cyber psycho. Usually they try to avoid that because
Well, yeah.
then they have to give me their character and I control the character now.
To their worst traits, and his
Yeah.
worst trait is he was super stealthy. These guys don't actually. You know what? If any of you guys are watching right now, make sure you check over your shoulder a little bit more often.
Yeah, 100%.
well, because he was at what before all of the final calc? It
The
was
final rolls.
no. How
he
much
was-
humanity was he at beforehand? 5, I think.
He
you
was at
said?
20, right? Oh, he was at 5.
His max cap was 20. He
Yeah,
was at
like
5
he was
humanity.
depressed down to 20 cap humanity.
Right.
Oh,
And they were begging Hornet to try to get some quick fix to get him to therapy the next week. However, this guy also killed Hornet's closest friend and
Oh.
bodyguard Fox over a small skirmish. So it didn't go over well.
yeah, they were doomed.
They were, yeah, they really were. When Diamond explained exactly, like, mathematically how messed up this guy got to, and then, like, it's like, okay, let me show you page by page how screwed you are. And I'm like, that is, I can only dream to one day.
Well,
Like,
honestly,
that's what would have happened way snapped.
Ugh,
ugh.
don't talk
Well,
about that.
personally, I don't let my players go below 20 humanity or 2 empathy because they have to play the character in a different way. You know what I mean? Once you get to sub 2, the way the character plays has to be different. You know what I mean?
Dissociate a little bit.
They have to dissociate a lot. Like they have to have episodes. They have to have moments of like where, and if if I tell them like, look, either you don't go below 2, or you promised me that when you do go below 2, that's how you're gonna start playing your character.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if you're willing to do that, and then most of them are like, oh man, that's like, you at that point your character is dead. It's like brain damage. You know what I mean? It's permanent
Kinda.
brain damage. You
Yeah.
know, so that's why I tell them like below 2. I just personally I feel like you would be brain damaged. You know.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's an argument for that. I know that different tables probably work very differently with that. Because, like, at my tables that I'm both player and a GM in, like, I embrace low humanity characters because I think all the people I've played with, and for my part, when I've been in that player, like, we enjoy figuring some of that out. But I also play with a lot of people who are very into, like, Call of Cthulhu and investigative horror, and that touches elements of that pretty heavily. So it's like if you're
Yeah.
able to do those games and play that and up to that level, you're probably all right to play with Cyberpsychosis fully in bounds. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is different. You're right. Like the character goes from being like happy-go-lucky, like Diamond was just describing. The first season of my actual play with a character named Wei. Wei was a martial artist. Wei came from a long clan though of marauding pirate Thelis nomads. And he got out of it because he didn't want to be that anymore. Then he was forced to become it again. So slowly you watch this happy-go-lucky guy who's got enough empathy to be like very stable, very like okay with everything, slowly fall down until eventually he's at a point of like, I don't care that those kids just called this dude his uncle. This guy's got to die. He knows too much. And it's like, and turning that into like the reason why it's like, listen to yourself. In the game, like in character, they were like, listen to yourself, hear what you're saying. Is that really who you are and what you want to be? And he went into the bathroom, smashed the mirror and like washed his face before he came out and said, I need help. And I'm like, that was such a cool moment, and not having the ability to do that is like, it takes a little of the edge off, you know?
As someone who, I had hit 10 like below 10 humanity before, and rolling around down there, it creates this interesting new challenge where sometimes you got to figure out, are you wasting bullets on something that's not there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you actually being watched? Are you seeing things? Are you hearing things? It creates this new interesting challenge, and then you kind of have to wake up and just like, oh, I gotta fix this. I am in trouble.
Yeah.
Like,
they wake up in a puddle of blood and there's 3 dead bodies. They don't know how they got there. That kind of stuff happens. That kind of stuff might happen. Good thing there were gangers this time that had it coming. But
next
what
time
if they're not gangers
police,
next time?
Or the suits?
Taco, I don't know if you're watching right now, but I remember Snow Taco from my community was talking about it. His GM was fantastic. From what I know of Sean is great. His GM had this Maelstrommer's nice little studio apartment get broken into, and he thought this was cops breaking into his apartment. And then it was over, and it was 3 Maelstrommers that were coming in to check in on him.
Oh wow, that's cool. Yeah, see that kind of stuff too. The paranoia.
It's that's kind of why I'm there. But I totally understand why you aren't usually a fan of your players going below 2 if it's just not a thing that really fits for your table. Like
it just totally no. What it does is it just takes me out of the immersion if they're not playing their character as a sub to character. So I that's why I make the deal with them. Like, if you want to do it, fine. Just you got to play your character cold, and like things are gonna happen that are out of your control, and you have to be okay with that. Right. So but every time I've posed that, they've decided not to. So, you know what I mean?
Well, and that's kind of like, that's what I was saying earlier about like every table is going to be very different in that way. Because like, in order to grapple with those topics and play the characters the way that would be true to cyberpsychosis, like you have to be willing to be like exploring some fairly dark topics that only get worse as time goes on if you don't take care of it. So if you're just starting with 2 empathy, like dropping to 2 empathy as like a base stat, I don't know that I've ever played a character like that. That is like,
yeah, me neither, because I like doing the social skills too. You know what I mean? I like having human perception stuff like that's real. Human perception's huge,
conversation
so,
too.
Like conversation, those kinds of things. So sometimes, dude, we'll be playing and like no one's rolled dice for like an hour, and we were like, oh yeah, that's right, we're supposed to roll dice in this game because you have such a like cool, deep social interaction. Everybody's tense, everybody's on edge, and it's like everybody's like in it. Even though they're not playing, they're not saying anything, they're listening. Because they're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen now?
Right. I mean, even sometimes, like you said, when you can split the party philosophically, sometimes at games I've been part of, like the philosophical debate happens in character partway through, like you're flying somewhere or you're driving somewhere, and it's like not the time for action to really happen. It's the downtime between, and you're like, there. I remember one time, it was at Phantom's table where there are 3 of us as players there who are having a discussion about like how we felt about the outcome of a gig and like what our role in playing judge, jury, and executioner for some of these things like really was. And like this whole thing happens, not a single die was rolled for like an hour and a half in real time. And we're just we come out of that, we're like, whoa, what was that?
I mean, role playing game, not role playing. As James Hutt put it, role playing versus role playing. Sometimes you are, playing your role, and I find that if players make a, pretty sturdy argument, especially if it reflects the character itself. It's just like, yeah, we'll bypass the roll. That was pretty solid. Where, you know, sometimes rolling dice may be there to aid as needed.
Yeah, the dice are there to enhance the situation, to like add a little bit of, you know, randomness plus like the skill of your character to just make it more interesting. Otherwise, you know, we could just make it up and we're not playing a game. You know what I mean? But yeah, that interaction, those kinds of interactions is what I come to play Cyberpunk for. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's. I mean, I agree. That's what I live for as a GM. It's like if I can cultivate those moments, man, there is nothing better when like you're just leaned back in your chair as the GM and you're just watching your players go off.
Oh yeah,
and you
dude.
barely need to interject. You're like, okay, there aren't really any NPCs in the scene to interject on this, so you guys go off. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's why I try to do the companion NPC. I think Seth Skorkowski has something similar. I forgot what I think he calls a companion NPC, but I call it like the guide or something. But basically, it's the same idea. It's you make an NPC that is along with the players, isn't better than the players, doesn't have better stats, isn't like cooler than the players. They're just there to help you inject plot devices. So, you know, or just to have like that kind of role play, I'll be like, you're driving, he's the driver, and he turns around and says like, dude, that was kind of messed up what you said to that boss at that meeting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a little, and then the player will defend themselves, and then maybe another player will chime in, and then they'll have an argument, and like that's it. Now that NPC just continues driving.
Yeah, it's like I just started some shit, and that's all good.
Exactly, dude.
Sounds a bit like what you could also do with agents, where apparently the agents can give suggestions or just make comments. And I imagine like some agents, when they get to really know their people, that they will make some commentary every once in a while. It's like, are you sure you want to go there again? You've gotten beaten up the last few times you've gone.
Your trauma team coin is no longer usable.
Yeah. You already snapped your card once in the last week. Have you purchased a new one? Would you like me to order you one? Like,
have you updated your plan?
Yeah. You've been eating kibble, you promise?
This is your 4th pack of Smash this week. My God.
Yeah.
If my agent ever called me out like that, I would throw that in the fucking river. I'd be like, no, get out of here. Like,
yeah.
I mean, for my fixer, it's stuck in her head. She's stuck with it until someone can fish it out.
Yeah, it's true. Oh man.
I just hope it's not. Yeah. I hope it's not plot device internal agent though. I think I made it a point to make sure it wasn't the plot device one.
No.
You did say that. But
good,
because I know I've some of my players are listening, so I'm like, I'm not going to spoil on that front. But yeah,
it's like a video game where you can't destroy an item. You're like, why can't I destroy this item?
This is a secret.
Walk across that threshold like, oh,
yeah, this item cannot be dropped.
What? Yeah.
This item is not market sellable. What?
Yeah. No one wants it.
So, I am curious, John, because I know not long ago, or at least to me it feels like not long ago, but time is a construct. I know you kind of announced you were making this like flex where like now that you were getting past Cyberpunk content and like being like, I'm done and I'm never doing it ever again. But I know recently you've kind of expanded your content to be more like inclusive of other like broader tabletop games. I know some of that was with like Combat Zone and like Warhammer and all of that. As you've gone out and done that, like first of all, kind of what led into you making that decision? I'm kind of curious as someone who like I've explored other tabletop games, but I keep coming back to Red, so I'm kind of curious what your thoughts on that were.
Well, yeah, it's just that, you know, like I love other tabletop games and I love them a lot. Like my love for Warhammer is deep, dude, like very deep. I read the books, I collect the models, I paint the models. Like over time, I've become a good painter and I have like multiple armies, everything. You know what I mean? Everything about Warhammer I love. And just as much as I love Cyberpunk, it's literally, they're both like my two loves. So because of that, I'm just as passionate about Warhammer as I am about Cyberpunk. And every video I've ever made, I've never made a video where I was like, oh, this will get views. I made a video because I was like, this is something that I could talk about, that I care about. This is something that I'm passionate about. And I feel like I have something I could say. And I think it'll resonate with some people. And that's why I made the video. And I could do the same thing for Warhammer, you know? The problem with Warhammer and other tabletop games is they have their guys, you know? Everybody has their guy for that kind of topic, including me. Like, I have creators that I follow that I just, as a fan, that I listen to their stuff, you know what I mean? So my question had always been like, what am I going to offer that's not already out there, you know? So that's basically what I'm figuring out. I know that what I can tell you off the top of my head for Warhammer is the narrative aspect of it, like playing narratively, it has taken a backseat. It's a backseat and on the back burner compared to the hobbying, which is the number one part of Warhammer. It has the most interactions, is the hobbying, like putting things together. Some people collect armies, never play, you know, a lot of people. Yeah, they just collect. They've never played one game, you know, and never plan to. That's the number one. And then it's the actual game, you know what I mean? Right. But everybody talks about the competitive aspect of it because that's kind of just like the focus of what Warhammer is right now, is the competitive aspect. And even when you play with your buddies, you guys are playing a casual competitive game, you know? But there isn't really the type of tools you need to make a story the way that you would with like a tabletop RPG. And there's a mode called like Crusade, which Age of Sigmar has one called Path to Glory. And those are just competitive with like extra bookkeeping, in my opinion. You're not really telling a story, you know what I mean? You're just like giving experience. It's more like Necromunda or even Combat Zone, where you're upgrading your army in between games and stuff like that. It's just, you know, that's not narrative. Narrative is like they have names, they came from somewhere, they have motivations, they have reasons for doing the things that they're doing. There's overarching plans, there's gods that are meddling in their lives, and all that stuff is not happening on the tabletop and it's not translating there. So that's something that I maybe want to explore and see like how I can do that.
Dark Heresy. I have played Dark Heresy before. I'm not usually a big fan of Warhammer, but I did enjoy playing a guardsman that was part of the Inquisition. In that case. So honestly, it was my one step into Warhammer. Not that I'm gonna really dive into there because that is a money sink that I cannot afford to put a toe into for me.
It's expensive. It's expensive.
It is. I tried once long ago. I had a beginnings of a Tyranid army. Cool. I had the beginnings of a Tyranid army, and I just couldn't stick with it because I'm like, whenever I get into a game that has a competitive sort of, I guess you could say like a competitive overtone to it. It's like I want to get competitive. I played TCGs for a long time. I mean, like that's like the standee behind me is like one of the things I did. Like I got as an RPG player or TCG player. So I'm like, for me, it's like I've always had that, and I've just like, but it's never super healthy. So it's one of those things where I'm like, you know, I think I'm okay being healthier and like not involving myself with it.
They're not the TCG communities are not well known for their positivity.
I guess it depends on where you are. Like the small group that of like Pokemon players I know are pretty good.
Casual groups are always different though.
That's
like
different.
If you go to a bigger tournament scene,
too many sweats.
Regionals, the moment you're in a regional environment of any kind in that space, it's like, okay, that's a very
Warhammer's really bad for that. The local competitive scenes are like a bunch of tryhards. It's so annoying, dude.
Yeah. Well, and I know that
away from League and Smash just because.
Yeah.
Because I know like one of my good friends who's actually like I got him into Cyberpunk in that very first group. He got really into Warhammer. Like he's still very, very involved with like our local community that plays it.
Mm-hmm.
And even he's like, yeah, so like this has been my experience with some of like the community stuff and like how people approach the game. And it's like there are times where he comes back with a story and I'm like, that doesn't sound like fun. Like even if you win, that doesn't sound like the winning is fun. Like what's going on there?
No.
I've gone with my buddy out to go watch him play Warhammer because he's Death Corp and I've seen his Death Corp army. It's like love it. But
awesome. Fellow guard player.
Yeah.
Love the guard.
Yeah.
But
they're my favorite.
I've seen like some of the groups, just some of these folks get real by the books about a lot of things. I'm just like, as a GM, like, yes, I appreciate Cyberpunk because I have this toolkit that is the rule book, but I could look at this and be like, you know, for this call that I'm about to make, that is bullshit.
You can change things. No, Warhammer, there's no room for creativity. They have a rule for everything. I find Pathfinder to be the same way. I don't know if you guys have played Pathfinder, but when I tried to homebrew for it, I'm like, I can't homebrew. They have a rule for everything.
Right.
I'm gonna make a homebrew, and it's like there's 3 rules that cover my homebrew. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, Pathfinder First Edition. I noticed because I love First Edition personally. It's very expansive.
Yeah.
Second edition, I haven't got to dive into, but it sounds like they really lightened up on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure they streamlined it. And you know what, dude? There's people that love that stuff. They love that, and that's what they want. And even with Warhammer, you know what I mean? And also, what I'd like to say about Warhammer is it's just like playing Cyberpunk. It's all about who you play with.
Sure.
That makes the biggest difference. And if you curate like a good group, and none of them are toxic, and everybody's like, dude, I just want to roll dice. I don't care what happens. It'll be fun if I beat you. It'll be fun if you beat me, whatever. And we're just here to roll dice and have a good time.
Right.
You know, playing the units that we like.
Well, and to tell a story about it after, like, oh man, yeah, you really got me good there or whatever, and you laugh about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is some very soft rumbles and I like there's been some chatter when I've talked to some of the people that are part of the Combat Zone community that there might be a possible like casual tournament talk of maybe like people getting together at Gen Con, but I don't know. I still have yet to learn the game, and actually, I'm probably to be dragging my girlfriend into this. I think she was a Warhammer fan, so this should be pretty easy enough to get her into.
If she's into Warhammer, she probably will like vibe.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
it's easy. So, all you need is one person to get you hooked, dude.
You really? It's like come play with the plastic toys. They're great.
Shout out to Audrey and Alex. Thanks for all the awesome, cool stuff I'm about to dig into here.
Yeah.
So
you got I mean she showed me this image of just all the stuff that she just got from them and just like, here, try this. I'm like, ooh boy, I need to figure out who I need to talk to because I'd like to try it because I've got like you can't see them through them, but I've got their like the cargo crates and stuff like that they sold, and I'm like, because I'm like, I kind of want to like use these in my regular tabletop because I'm like, hey, those are cool.
If you know somebody that has the main game of Combat Zone, you just need a gang. That's it. You just need the gang box, which comes with all the models you need, all the cards and everything, and you just play your gang.
Sure.
Like that. You know what I mean?
You know.
So yeah.
Maybe I might. Actually, I don't know if I can get onto a carry-on. Next Gen Con, because I will just drive my butt out to Indiana. Yeah. Maybe I'll pack Combat Zone along, or we can get you a copy of Combat Zone.
It's all good.
There.
One way or the other, I'll get there eventually. It'll happen.
It looks so fun.
It's a very casual, fun game, dude. It's like in 4 hours or 5 hours, you can have a full campaign session where everybody plays multiple games. Like if you have like 5 people, you all round robin play each other. Within the 5 hours, you'll play like 3 or 4 games, and then you'll know who the winner of the campaign is.
Oh, that's fun. That's okay.
Yeah, because you could just go like 1-on-1 and just like it has like deck building mechanics too, because you have gear, and your gear have costs. So yeah, it has like so like you'll play a certain amount of money. So it's like, let's play 125 eddies, which is a lot in my opinion. I think 100 is good to like start, but let's say 125. All right, every unit has its cost and every piece of gear has its cost. So you'll be like, all right, I'll give this sledgehammer to this guy, I'll give this guy a smart gun, a smart pistol, and those are all like level 1 objects. As you're playing the campaign, your guys level up and they can access better gear and better cyberware and better, stuff that you can give them. So that's the fun of it, is like the deck building, it progressively like happens.
You have to sell me on it with deck building.
It's fun.
I love deck building games, dude. Oh,
yeah, that's the fun way to play it. That's the fun way. So if you do campaign, you upgrade in between, you level up, and you get better gear. If you're just like, hey, let's go 1-on-1, we're level 5, and just like build like the most extreme decks that we can, and we'll just like play each other 1-on-1. You could also do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like everybody gets like the best gear and stuff like that.
That's fun. God dang it! That sounds fun.
I gotta ask, favorite faction by chance, John?
Dude, my favorite faction is like one of the worst. Apparently, like always get my ass kicked. I don't know if anybody's out there that does well with the lawmen, but I cannot do well with the lawmen, dude. I don't know why. Like they're not doing well. I think they're so cool. The models are cool. There's like a sniper police officer, dude, that has like this. Here, I'm gonna get it. I'll get it.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Hey, sniper. Oh, I that sniper.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh.
He's got him.
I got them all right here.
Oh boy.
Here, let me get a light on there.
Do we have a mic? Do we have Mike in the mix as well?
Oh,
yeah,
that
Mike
looks.
Dropped it into my teeth.
Stand down.
Oh no.
It's all right. Yeah, Mike is somewhere in the back there. Yeah. He's in that corner.
Dude.
That is so.
Those look cool, man.
Yeah. That is
camera, but
that's great.
They're cool. They're fun. They're really fun. I had to paint 120 models in like a short amount of time.
I
have unsteady hands. I cannot paint.
All right. Well, now that I'm up, I'll show off my Archeon too.
Oh boy! All right, yeah. Do it.
I just painted. This is the last model I painted. It took me the longest to paint this. Look how big it is.
Oh yeah, no, that would be. I don't blame you for wanting to show that off, but that thing is very cool looking.
Bam, son.
That's awesome.
Took me the longest to do this one.
That's so cool. Holy crap!
Also, Drama Team's getting an AV as well.
Yes. What is it? The Heracles or whatever that they had in Black Chrome. Yeah. No, that thing looks awesome. Team. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they got like the body bags.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Which I still find it cool that like Monster Fight Club and Artal was able to come together to do a collab on that for Danger Gal. I really enjoy this. There's like a little bit more on like the Time of the Red. That it's just like, hey, I know this thing.
Noodle bar.
We got a little noodle bar.
Oh, I've seen pictures of this one.
Roof comes off. This is from Saucerman Studios. I printed it, painted it myself.
That's great.
That's
real meat. And then if you look closely, it says special 50% off Smash.
Nice.
And then there's graffiti that says like, "Where's Johnny?" FUNCPD, stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Okay. Yeah.
I suppose as someone who is new coming into Combat Zone, yeah, I've heard about DLC for Combat Zone. Where do I find this? Like,
you want to go to their Discord. You want to go to their Discord. Mm-hmm. They have a bunch of stuff pinned there for like DLCs, errata, like all kinds of stuff. Their Discord is very active. I'm sure somebody will point you in the right direction too.
I shot Emmerron an invite to it. I'm just still trying to find my way around it.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, dude.
fair.
It's good times, man. Good times.
Yeah. I mean, when you said deck building, I'm like, oh no, there it is.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Like...
And like, I'd say the strongest faction is the Tiger Claws.
Ooh,
that kind of makes sense. That kind of makes sense. Shinobu the second in Danger Gal already.
Arasaka are crazy powerful too. Just the same way the Tiger Claws are. And then
I thought Maelstrom would be, given they just have Atom Smash. We have Atom Smasher at home.
Yeah, they're kind of mid. The thing is they're very gear dependent. You know what I mean? So some gangs are dependent on their gear. Others are just like good off the bat. Danger Gals are very gear dependent. They have like stuff that with explosives.
That's one of the boxes I was given. What about zoners? Because that's like one of the factions that I want to pick up and run with.
I'd say they're like mid to high tier. They're like okay with the right gear. They're okay. You know what I mean? They do like everything really well. It's they play a lot like the lawmen but better, because the lawmen have like this mechanic where like you could chain all your dudes, because it's supposed to be I go with a model, then you go with a model, then back and forth, and we do that and we just keep going, and then we could refresh all our actions and stuff like that.
Okay.
But the police, the lawmen, have a special ability where they can activate multiple models at a time. You know what I mean? So like 5 of my guys will go before you go. You know?
Oh. So it's action. You can front load the action economy, is what you can do. Okay.
Yeah, but the zoners just do it better. The bozos are really cool because they like mess with you. They like can turn one of your guys into one of their guys. Like they do like weird things that other people can't do. Just like they cheat in the game kind of way. You know what I mean?
Checks out for bozos.
Yeah, they like bend the rules. They do like weird kind of antics and stuff like that.
That sounds like I would need to mechanically look at all the factions, because I'm like, aesthetic is one thing, but I'm one of those guys who's like, the like it or hate it. It's like, yes, blue is a fun color.
Yeah,
because I'm having fun.
Blue and white.
Blue is great.
Bastard.
I don't need white necessarily. Blue-red is more my thing. It's like I get to cancel things and blow things up, and I love both of these things.
I ran blue-white when my friend and I did like two-headed giant matches. So
it's just oppressive.
That's whenever I play card games, like I somehow, it's either like hard aggro where it's like, all right, we come out the gate, you're gonna be hurting, and then it's like either that or I like do the slowest control where it's like, can the game please be over? It's been 30 turns, and I'm like, yes, but this is turn 31 now.
Well, now we're at 31 and it's not over.
I'm still having a great time. I'm miserable. Good.
Yeah, and then also in Combat Zone, you can get edge runners, which are like specific just edge runners. You can make like 3 different edge runner gangs, like Poser Gang, Guardian Gang, and just edge runners by itself.
Yeah.
Or you can use them as mercenaries and inject them into different gangs.
Oh,
and they all have their own like special abilities. Like one guy gives you an extra green action, so it's like you just have them in your crew. And like you're like, oh, dude, if my one guy has an extra green action, he's gonna murder everyone. You know what I mean? So like, you do that kind of stuff.
That's fine.
I suppose one that I did hear 6th Street is next in the shoot to show up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when we get like an actual like protection gang coming in.
Yeah,
but Generation Red, where do they fall into the pile.
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I've never liked Generation Red, the RPG. I never liked the idea of kids being involved in the cyberpunk world. It just didn't really make sense to me.
Sure.
Because I felt like it was too mature, and I get the idea. It's like these aren't kids; they're like grown up. You know what I mean? Because of how
there are
bad life is.
consequence of the times in a lot of
exactly.
ways.
You know what I mean? They're like old souls because of what they've had to go through. So because I have no interest in the gang, I'm not collecting them, so I don't know much about them, to be honest with you. I saw some of their cards, and it looked like they're actually pretty strong. They can be very strong. They have a lot of disruption and a lot of action economy.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they cause trouble.
That's what I'd expect from a gang like that. That makes sense. But
but it's weird. It's like a kid on a skateboard with a baseball bat, and then a guy that looks like Atom Smasher, and it's like, who's gonna win? And the kid on the skateboard can win. You know?
Yeah, the answer might surprise you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude.
There's something about taking a razor scooter to the shin that I think all of us can relate to. That please tell me I'm not the only one that suffered that pain.
Oh.
The ultimate pain, dude. When you whip it around, dude.
Yeah. Just,
oh yeah.
And it gets a full rotation. Dude.
Yeah, and not even at slow speed. It's like that is a full-on send
whack.
Your ankle is gone now. Have fun with that.
That was just something I was wondering, because I knew they were a faction in the mix. I'm just trying to think what other factions there were, but yeah, I do have to ask though, when it comes down to it, the skirmisher versus tabletop games, which is more your preferred? If you had to choose, is it Warhammer or are we doing Dungeons and Dragons today? What is the choice? What's your go-to on that?
Yeah, so basically for me, I like to have variety. So if I play too much Warhammer, it makes me want to play Cyberpunk. If I play too much Cyberpunk, it makes me want to play Warhammer, And I just go back and forth. And if I'm bored of Warhammer and Cyberpunk, I'll want to play a board game. I would want to Mansions of Madness or Exploding Kittens, whatever. I want to try.
That's a personal favorite of mine.
Game.
I love.
It is a great game. My wife loves that game too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thing. If I'm gonna play an RPG, I'm down to play whatever RPG. If my friend's dude, I really want to run this, I'll be like, okay, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if I were to choose, I prefer playing Cyberpunk every time. Every time.
Okay.
Yeah. My son is 6, so I think I'll be. He'll be playing D&D. That'll be the first game that he'll play, because you can make it PG, you know what I mean, or G-rated. You know what I mean? But Cyberpunk, you can't.
Yeah, it's hard to make Cyberpunk age appropriate. There was a question actually that got asked earlier that kind of applies here, because it's maybe not as easy to make PG as D&D is, but it is a step closer to that direction. Have you given any thought to covering other RTAL games like Shadow Scars, the one that in particular I'm thinking of here? Just because that one is a little more it's got a little more of those elements where it's more PG-13 instead of it being pretty much R, which is definitely where Cyberpunk falls.
Yeah. I haven't really had a desire to check out any of the other games like Castle Falkenstein or Teenagers from Outer Space or any of that stuff, just because it doesn't really click with me, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I think it's cool. I think that anybody that plays it, more power to you, and I think that it's awesome that Cody got to make the game that he's always been wanting to make. I think I'm more happy for him for that. Sure. That he got it was his lifelong dream to make this game, and he got to make it a reality. I'm more happy for that than wanting to check out the game, you know what I mean? But like I said, if my friend's dude, I read the core rulebook, I want to run a session, let's do a one shot, I'm yeah, let's do it, you know what I mean? I'd be yeah, I want to try it out,
Yeah. No, I'm I'd run for you. I'd give you a show of it, because I'm I love it. I think it's a great way to simplify things that are normally very complicated. in a lot of games. Like the social system and stuff is really good, and the fact that like the world is more of a puzzle than it being like all right, we're always going to get into a combat. Like a lot of people describe as like combat's a soft failure state. So it leads to a little more intrigue and discovery and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, like that's where I'm like, basically once my current season of my Cyberpunk actual play is done, I'm going to be like, all right, we're doing the whole starter set.
Nice.
We're going to do it because I'm like, I really want to dive in.
Gosh, I want to get it, like round up a group for it, but I've also got to ask, John, is there like any other obscure games that you've discovered that like really has been fueling your fire recently?
Recently, obscure games, as far as like tabletop games?
Tabletop, miniature card games, like any new discoveries that you've come across.
You know what? Honestly, no. There isn't any like anything like that. I did for a second see some bolt action. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. It's the World War II war game.
Oh,
and
no, I haven't.
I haven't heard of that, but that sounds interesting. Yeah,
it is the World War II board game like that everybody plays, and I love Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan. I played Company of Heroes, like. So I've always been into World War II, and I'm like, dude, I gotta have at least one, World War II army. Like, I have to be that dad that collects, World War II miniatures.
It's no longer the Civil War; it is now World War II.
Yeah, exactly. We moved up. We're not doing Napoleonics anymore. Yeah, now we're doing World War II. It's a dad game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, but the problem is like I just don't have enough time. Like I can do 1 or 2 games a week, and I just have to choose. So it's always probably going to be Cyberpunk and Warhammer. Like that's it. You know what I mean?
Right. And then like on the off chance you're bored of one or the other, then the replacement takes its spot, kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Exactly.
I mean, that's kind of the way it's gotten, even for me, because it's like I don't have a kid yet or anything, so I've still got that kind of time, but it's still like I end up running like 3 Cyberpunk games in a week. Sometimes 4, because I'm like
sick.
I do 2 professional games. One's every other week, one is weekly, and then I've got my Monday night game that I run every week. So I'm like, it gets to be a lot. It's very cool, but it gets to be a lot. And so it's like there are times where I'm like, I need to take a break. I need to like chill. I need to like. So I play like Dragonbane. That's one that I've gotten into recently. That's like. That one's a lot of fun, especially if you're like, D&D is a little complicated. Dragonbane is less complicated. It's got a little bit of that rules light, less math and all of that. It's like, it scratches the itch without me needing to worry about some of the complexities of D&D as like a DM, where you're like, is it balanced? Is it going to be like challenging? Or is it going to be, because like I've always found I struggle with 5th ed specifically, because I learned on 4th ed, had a blast. Then 5th ed rolls around and it's like, why do none of the encounters balance? They're total curb stops one way or the other. They're never like the happy medium I'm used to. Like,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I suppose I want to throw a hard hitter out here.
Oh boy.
How has you being a content creator, like how has that impacted you? Because I suppose one of our fans asked it, and I figured I'd pass the question along. Your content creation journey, how has it impacted you as a person?
Oh, dude, because it's been so positive. It's one of those things where because when you hear about YouTube creators and like they get on podcasts or you hear them talk, they always talk about how like people are negative and like the bad comments and this and that. I get bad comments too, but I have enough perspective to see that it's a small portion of it, and and it would be a disservice to all the people saying all the positive things for me to focus on the negative. You know what I mean? There's all these because that's what your brain does. Your brain focuses on the negative. But I just I reverse it, and I'm like, dude, you're ignoring all these other people that are supporting you, that are part of your Patreon. And even though you're like not making extra, you told them, look guys, sorry, I'm not going to make extra content for Patreon. I can't, but if you want to support me, you can go ahead. And they're like happy to support me. You know what I mean? So that kind of validation, working with Artalsorian Games, being friends with James, and meeting content creators like you guys, it's such a positive force in my life that it's improved my life. It's given me confidence. It's given me comfort. It's given me the positivity I need to like keep going with everything that I'm doing. You know what I mean? So overall, it's been a great experience for me.
Wow, I think I just actually learned something here that like changed my worldview a little bit. Actually, Emmerron. Fuck. Okay, wasn't imagine getting hit with the backblast, but
yeah. Sorry, we weren't supposed to cry today.
Good. It's good. This is good.
She's like, I asked him to hit hard. I didn't expect it to come right back at me.
No.
Yeah.
I was throwing the hard hitter here, and it's just like, oh,
no, dude.
Wow, shit.
Look, I'll be real with you. Like, okay, so I have the app, you know, and like I'll open it, and the most 3 recent comments will be like the first 3 things that you see. You know what I mean? And if like somebody left an asshole comment, every time I open that app, it's like right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like always seeing it. I've heard other creators like delete it. You know what I mean? But I don't delete comments. Like at the end of the day, they gave me a view and they're interacting with my video. They're giving me like algorithm help just by interacting, just by commenting. Even though they said something, even if they hate me, they still helped me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So at the end of the day, like that's how I'd like to look at it. And I'm like, and this is just one guy, dude. The last 30 comments were all like, thank you, you're the best, this is awesome. Me and my friends just got into it. One guy made me cry, dude. Like he told me him and his wife played Cyberpunk in their living room or in their dining room table for like a week straight, and it was all because of my videos, like that he was able to do it. I was like, dude, I showed my wife, we both cried. Like, dude, you know what I mean? How could I ignore that, you know, and focus on the negatives?
Yeah, no, like speaking from my experience, that sort of, because I get a lot of those kinds of comments on the like how to GM stuff, because a lot of that is inspired by like the stuff I've seen and heard in the wider community of like, there's like, I wish I had someone to show me like how this is supposed to work or whatever. I'm like, I can do that.
No.
Like, I love doing that for people with all kinds of stuff. So I'm like, I could do that. And when I see people commenting like, wow, this was like really helpful, this gave me the confidence I needed to like run this gave me like a perspective on it I didn't have before, and that made all the difference. I'm like, every time, it's like it's hard not to cry, because you're like, wow, like I just made this because I thought it'd be helpful. I didn't expect how helpful it would be, you know?
I suppose when I shot that video, because you know I had finally I had enough of seeing like a certain big corporation deciding to continue to be real ass to their players, that it's like, hey guys, instead of playing this system, there's all these other awesome systems you can go out and go try. I highly recommend them. Go look. And I kicked a little bit of a hornet's nest there, but apparently I helped someone find their new favorite game, and that being in Death in Space. And it's like, oh, well, I'm glad you like it.
And that's a great game. Like,
Death in Space is a very good game.
It's a great game. Like,
Stockholm Cartel's got some really good ones.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's just in general, like, because like you were saying, John, it's like when you go into a sphere because you're like, I'm passionate about this, I'm positive about this, I want to do more with this, you know, and share my love of it, rather than going out into a space, I guess, because it's like you want to dunk on another space. If you do that, it's definitely, I feel like you're coming at it with a different mindset, right? And it's very
look, when I'm with my buddies, like we'll dunk on, you know, whatever we don't like, you know what I mean? But to put it out there and like make it your thing. Like my thing is dunk on things I don't like. You know, people do that. Like that's their channel. That's what they are. I'm not that type of person to like put it out there publicly like that, because I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. When it's me and my buddies, we're in a room, it's our personal private conversation, you know what I
Right.
mean? But if the creators of that game or people that love that game watch my video, like they might feel bad about it, you know what I mean? And I'm
Right.
not trying to do that, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of where that's where I come to like my stuff with, like, every now and then I'll be like, oh yeah, this other thing, it's just annoying me or whatever, but it's like in and out kind of thing where I'm just like, I'm not going to focus on that. That's not the thrust of my content. The thrust of it is like, here's why some of these things are so good, not why this other thing is bad by comparison. That's kind of crazy.
Also, like, I see people leave comments like all the time. Combat sucks. 2020 is better, or like just this game sucks. Your video sucks. Like, they'll leave comments like that, and I'm like, do I really want to be in the same boat as these people?
I bet you're real fun at parties.
We all get dirty when we play in the mud. I think is the same.
Yeah, and
exactly.
like for me, like I've made it a point that like if there is something that like I'm going to post on it, I will never like talk about what actually spurred the video to happen, but it's just like, hey guys, there is this going on, but I got this awesome new solution. Don't just I've always believed, don't complain about a problem, offer solutions.
Dude, I've criticized Cyberpunk Red many times. I've criticized Cyberpunk 2020 many times, and there's a way where you can criticize the game without hurting anybody's feelings. Artel's still really cool with me. We collaborate all the time, so obviously they don't hate my opinions or think that like I've admonished their game or anything like that. So and it's clear that I love the game, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, like you're saying, there's a way to give good faith criticism and have it come across as good faith criticism, and not a like, you're not trying to like totally destroy everything that has been built for that game or whatever, or present
I see people I see people that say like, it's a joke. What they're doing is a joke, and it's like, that's the kind of negativity that they have, where like they're completely judging every aspect of it.
And it's like, I don't get that. I've never understood the kind of very general, broad statement of like, this all sucks. And it's like, I bet that that's wrong, but like, if it's not something I know confidently enough about like what all is in there, I'm not gonna refute you right now. Cyberpunk Red is one of the few things that I could stand toe to toe with and be like, yeah, no, like, this is why I don't quite think you're being fair. Like,
like I've listened, I've seen some of the criticisms that come up, and some people have very valid points. Like, Emmerron, one of the members of our group from today, like last week mentioned, he's much more of a fan of investigations where you are putting the pieces together versus the HP pool. I like did somebody say murder for the fact that it provides me like a metric, and
that's the DLC, right?
It's a brand new one. Yeah. That's one just
something I'm personally not a fan of, but I understand it's there for the sake of balance. Is that helmets have heavier weight helmets have such strong penalties to them. Like
there's game things,
Right. Bulky helmets still do screw with your reflexes and and I can see where it comes from, but like, it is very punishing. It's like,
yeah. Well, then that's why you can homebrew. Like, right.
Exactly.
There.
I was gonna say the same thing. Like, you can go, you tech upgrade it. Exactly. You invent it. You get around it. Does it really impact your game a lot? As a game master, you might decide. Does it impact the game a lot? Is there a tool in your toolbox as a game master that can't oppose whatever the player is asking? Most of the time, the answer is no. There's there is a tool. There is something that you can use to always counter something that your players do, no matter what. So.
We all have our own stuff. Like, I got the 3 MOOC method from you out of your what you've taught us in the video, and it later shows up in the article. And like one of the things that I have that I've offered up to people before is luck of chance, where the GM can roll a D10 and just by chance there happens to be this very convenient thing that you needed that is in this room, but it has to roll under your luck score. So really lucky people, people that invest into their luck can make benefits from it.
Thankfully, they've done a better job at like making luck a worthwhile thing to take raw anyway now. And I'm like, yes, people need to understand why this is so good. Like, please.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of people didn't have any reason to take more than 4 or 5 into their luck at maximum, you know. But if you want to play a lucky character, you're like, dude, I want 8. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, so you could do stuff like that.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. Oh my gosh, we're already. Where did the time go?
Yeah, we zoomed. We're zooming through this podcast.
I guess I have been holding back on this one partially because, but on behalf of one of my players, John the Wise, do you have any words of wisdom for the players as of recent that you have discovered?
Any words of wisdom? It's okay to run away.
Yes.
Running away is a good tactic. Okay. Library search is really good. Library search can get you a lot of things done. And also just don't be too worried about the rules and like trying to understand the rules and anything. Just like get into your character. You know what I mean? Play your character the way you want it to be played. Because a good game master will be able to adapt and just go with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but as far as like advice, man. Oh, one of the things I always say: talk before you Glock. You know what I mean? Which is sometimes it's better just to talk your way out of a situation than just start blasting. You know, and sometimes the players have to learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true.
But that they only learned that lesson once, I found.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, I think we got it.
Right. You're like, that would have been way easier if, you just discussed it, because it turns out you actually agreed. Like,
there's 20 bouncers in this nightclub. They're all armed. There's also the Night City Police Department on call. Are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah. The tavern brawls of D&D have nothing on this. Like, this is very different. Like, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. And I guess expanding on that, when you look at GMs and like maybe some of the things that GMs sometimes miss, right? Like maybe they're not doing anything wrong. They just forget like, I have this power or can do this thing or whatever.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give in that realm to people who are looking to like run the game or are struggling because they're missing some piece of the puzzle that you might have seen and have a good solution for?
I think one of the biggest pitfalls for a game master is over preparedness. Because you have too much on your mind. You have charts and tables. You're like, dude, this table will be perfect if we ever are in a desert oasis, run by Maelstrom. I have like 100 things that can happen here. You know what I mean? And then it's like, when the game is going, you don't have time to reference these things. I like to use those as like a game aids to prepare my campaign. If I can't think of something, I'll roll on it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I saw a result under it that's a better idea, and I'm like, actually, you know what? I'll just use that one. That one sounds even better. So that kind of thing. But for what I prepare for a session is more of like a thought experiment beforehand, where I just type notes down like a madman on one giant Google document that's like 1,000 pages long. And I'm like, yeah, the players are at the warehouse. And I'm thinking, what's in the warehouse? Okay, these things are in the warehouse. What's their defenses? What's their surveillance? Okay, this is their kind of thing. And then when we play the game, I just have that in mind, and we just play and see what happens. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I really think you get that paralysis by analysis thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have so many things you're thinking about that you just like, you freeze and you just end up like not knowing what to do, and having to go with instinct.
Totally. No, and I agree. I think I've said a lot of the time, like, you GM long enough, you become a master at improv, because like it feels like as you and your players get more experience, improv becomes a natural element that you lean into. Because like when you're a new player, you're gonna look way more at the rule book and like, what can I do, right? You're not thinking about what am I gonna do. It's just, what are my options? You play like a video game, and as a GM, you're almost thinking about it from the other side in a similar way, where you're like, okay, here are the way the rules are supposed to interact with the scene I've got in my mind. So you start, like creating those tables and stuff like you're talking about, where you're like, okay, the stat block is gonna facilitate this, and they're gonna do this. And it's a very robotic thing. Whereas like, once you've got experience under your belt, especially if you've been doing it for like a year or more, you start going, oh, well, here's the vibe. This is how I'm gonna match the vibe. And you just gotta play it.
Guy Slanders calls it constraints. The constraints, that's like the biggest thing, dude. As long as you know what the constraints are of the situation that your players are in, it's so easy to interact. Like, for example, if you're like, this NCPD cop that pulled them over is an honest cop. That's what you're thinking. You're like, he's an honest cop. Whatever the players do, say, I just think to myself, he's an honest guy. He's like one of the only ones that's honest. Maybe he has empathy too. So like, if they say something that he can relate with or empathize with, maybe he'll let them go. But if they're doing illegal activities, he will arrest them. Like, he will, use his full force as a police officer. So just knowing that he's an honest cop, I can answer any question, any situation, any scenario that my players put me in, And that's what's freeing. And then you can actually have fun.
Right. Because then you're not worried about what's coming next. You're just living in the moment. And that's like everything. If you can live in the moment as a game master, it's so liberating. You're like, all right, I'm not anxious at all. I'm just playing for 4 hours, and we come to the end of that almost as quick as we have the time of here on the podcast this week.
Which we do have 3 questions for Q&A.
Please.
Let's do it.
Oh, okay. You want to join us for Q&A then?
We still have a little bit of time, right?
Yeah, we still got a little bit of time.
All right.
I'll do one question. I do actually have to head out after. So yeah, I'll do one question with you guys, and then I'm gonna head out, and you guys do your thing.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So I got 3 questions in front of me. One of them: what's the best pistol type in your opinion? Second one: much like G.I. Dano and Porcupine, do you have terms of players?
It's fun.
I want to upgrade my breacher. What ideas do you have?
Okay.
Take your pick.
Yeah.
Take a pick.
I think I'm gonna go with what was the second one again?
Much like G.I. Dano and Porcupine, do you have terms for types of players?
I don't know. Turbs?
Yeah, terms. Like, so like, you
terms.
call a particular kind of player, like you have a nickname for that or something like that?
No, I don't have nicknames. I'm very specific to like I try to find out exactly what you're into. I'm like, hey, do you like role play or you like combat more? Okay, you like combat. Okay, what part of combat do you like? Do you like melee? Do you like to be far away? Do you like explosions? Are you a martial artist? And like, I do like a full breakdown on all my players, and I try to make sure that all of my sessions try to like touch on every single thing that the players like. And you're guaranteed to have a good session if you do that, dude.
For sure. Yeah. No, that's very true. Yeah, I mean, like, I think, like, to answer for my part of it, I think, like, you end up with referential stuff, like, especially since, but we're kind of unique in that, like, we do actual plays. So, like, we've got our games in the public space. So, like,
it's a totally different way.
It is, because like everyone sees the characters and what they're doing and stuff. So it's like no longer is it just us 6 or whatever at a table. It's like us 6 plus everyone who's watching in the audience. And so we'll refer to like, like that's a way, like that's a martial artist, they're linear framed or whatever. Because that's the archetype that we saw first embodied with that character. But like,
that's cool.
But we don't call. Yeah, like when I've heard those terms, I'm like, those are hilarious. But I never really had the like, oh yeah, like that's the that's this nickname that I'll use now. Like Porky is fun though. I like Porky for someone bristling with weapons. That's great.
Yeah, I do have like classifications kind of in my head, but it's not like specific ones. I'll just know like, oh, that player is more passive. This one is unlucky. You know what I mean?
No.
Dude,
that guy always opens ones every single week. Like,
dude.
Yes. I refer to those players as my cup of Joes because one of my players, Joe, always out the gate. First roll is always a critical failure. It's like, oh, buddy.
Dude, I have a player. He's like the nicest guy in the world. So awesome. And it would be like 4 sessions in a row. He didn't hit once in combat ever.
Oh.
And it's like, how could this can't even be possible now. Like, it's impossible for this to be possible. That you missed every time, you know? And he'd be like, and he's a rocker boy too. So it's like, dude, come on. You're not cool.
Well, that's where I'm like, my first Netrunner, that was the case. I could hit the broadside of a barn, but I could hack any system you wanted me to.
Yeah,
just get me into computers. I'll deal with those. The rest of you are much better with guns.
Yeah, 10s all day for a perception check that doesn't matter.
My other term, this is a much more development in reference to a couple of players I have. They're known as kitchen sinks. Why? Because somehow, miraculously, they have everything in their bag plus the kitchen sink. And it's like, is there anything you guys don't have in there? It's like, no, I have all the gear. Like, I have all the basic gear you can get. I'm like, where are you putting all that?
Yeah, dude, I do the same thing. I honestly will be like, okay, dude, how much stuff are you carrying? And they'll be like, oh, I'll take out like this big long, sniper. And I'm like, dude, you had that sniper on you the whole time? Like, yes. You just like walk through police station. Those are highly illegal. There's no way you had your sniper with you.
They just happen to have an easy fix for everything instead of like needing complex tools. Like, I have duct tape. It's like, all right, how are we gonna see it here? I got glow sticks. It's like, okay, all right.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
So, to my kitchen sink players, nothing wrong with what you do. I appreciate that you guys seem to have a fix for everything.
It's super fun.
Hey, you could still fail even if you have the things.
Totally. No, exactly. You're going to miss something, right? In the middle, somewhere.
Exactly.
Something's missing.
Yeah.
Well, John, you've given us one, and I'm not going to compel you to do more than that.
Yeah, I wish, dude. I have to. My phone's been blowing up nonstop.
No worries. But
no worries at all. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today. Like, really, really appreciate.
Dude, it's a pleasure. I'm glad that we finally got to do this. I love what you guys are doing, and we'll do this again. I'm happy to come back on again.
100%. No, we'd love to have you
a
again.
chat. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely love to. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll hold down the fort then. We'll finish off the questions. But yeah, you have a good rest of your night, John.
So.
All right. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I may need to get in contact with you because I don't know how to get a hold of Seth Skorkowski. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You could probably. I just messaged him on Twitter. I believe I DM'd him on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Because we're looking to try and get in touch with him. So.
Yeah. He's really cool. Thank you so much to everybody in chat and everybody in your community and all the positive people out there. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have wonderful Cyberpunk Red games, or any games that you're playing for that matter. But I appreciate it all, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you, John.
Absolutely, John. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. All right.
Well, ain't that freaking nifty?
That was so much fun. So, Diamond, before we get too lost in that sauce, remind me, what are our final 2 questions for the week?
What's the best pistol type in your opinion? So I assume between
very heavy, probably, because medium isn't part of that conversation.
I don't know. There are some medium pistols that have some cool
but they're exotics. They're not your standard. Like if we're okay, so if we're talking these, I'm gonna talk on prototypical ones, right?
Yeah.
Prototypically, the best pistol is gonna depend. Like very heavy and heavy both have their benefits and their detractors. Do you want to do a ton of damage to someone who's already had their armor ablated to shit? Or like if you're looking to combo up with like melee, right? Like you've got a sword and a gun, then it's heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking to just get quick, heavy damage in, very heavy is gonna be better. Or like if you're trying to like ambush someone, very heavy is the better of the two. But very heavy also can't be concealed. So it's like, are you sneaky? Do you like concealing weapons? Like, what's the deal?
I feel like heavy pistol seems to be like, I've always referred to heavy pistol as like my go-to for out the gate because it's rate of fire 2, it's a magazine of 8, it's concealable, it does 3d6. It's a very middle of the road, like 100 eddy gun for any edge runner to pick up and run with. Now the very heavy pistol at the same time though, it's a hand cannon. I was rated fire 2, not better, 2d6 for twice on a medium.
Because heavies do 3d6 ROF too. Like that's why.
Yeah, and given very heavy also will give you a better chance of piercing armor as well.
Right.
Now, I gotta say though, medium does have some interesting pistols though that come up in their mix. Right. But if we were talking about like the stock weapons, I'd say heavy, very heavy, but I lean more towards heavy pistol.
Mm-hmm. Heavy has a lot going for it. Very heavy has some good uses. Like if you're looking for a one-handed single shot solution, very heavy is the best one-handed single shot solution. Unless you start breaking down into exotics and stuff, that's very different type of discussion that we start having. But that's a massive rabbit hole, and we don't have the time for it right now. But no, like I think if you're trying to choose between them, heavy is something that I think everyone can find something useful for if you're trained in handguns. 100%. So you can, and Nyla's pointing out 3d6 average is at 11. So you're not going to pen heavy light armor jack very often with it. But provided that someone else has a gun capable of blasting through light armor jack, your heavy pistols are going to get tons of work in. Even if you're just chipping 1 every time you fire it, that's like 2 to 4 AP every single round. That if you can hit and pen armor. So it's ROF2 is really good, and you can combine ROF2 weapons that like swords and stuff. So it's there's a lot more building you can do, I think, on the back of a heavy pistol. I would pretty much stand by that. Yeah.
And then the other question I got was kind of interesting. I'm kind of interested to see people ask about this. They want to upgrade their breacher. What ideas do you have? So we're probably inventing the upgrade.
You make it so the breacher can actually attack internal agents.
Ooh, yeah, there's that. Also, because like remote hacking, if you don't have the crunch whistle, is a little bit more difficult unless you are attacked with some really good electronic security checks. An excellent quality breacher where it gives where not only does it give you the capability, it gives you a +1 to it, would be decent enough.
Yeah, I could see that. I would also
maybe it becomes a fully functional agent with the breaching capability.
And since it's like a jailbroken agent, I mean, making it a full-blown agent would be kind of fun. I agree.
Oh gosh, just call someone to drop a zip bomb into their phone.
Yes, my 5 yottabyte zip bomb. I've been waiting for this. Drops it into bricks your agent on command. Yeah. Here's a fun way you could actually implement that with existing in-lore stuff. Create a breacher, tech upgraded to run a game of Digital Gladiator, but you have your avatar on the Breacher is a copy of the Atom Smasher stat block.
So you also you need this tech upgrade, basically jailbreak your version of Digital Gladiator. Oh, that's awful! Oh my god! I love that. Oh, I love that.
Since it's being done peer-to-peer, what middleman is checking whether we've got authentic versions or whatever? You know, like, it's peer-to-peer. I can inject hacks all day into that. Like, yeah. No, that's like, I would look at apps and stuff and see, like, because since the breacher is an agent, at the end of the day, it could probably sideload apps the same way that an agent could. So, like, there's all kinds of fun stuff you can do. You just have to think about what a breacher is at its core. But the really easy thing is make a breacher capable of breaching internal agents as it would an external one. That's probably like the really easy one. If you want to get creative about it though, being able to Digital Gladiator someone with Atom Smasher and give them brain damage that's a great time.
I mean, why stop at just internal agents? Like, you know, even go for the laptops as well, or maybe the if you don't have a net runner, just hack into someone's desk terminal and get in that way.
Right. Yeah. No, I 100% think that there could be there's plenty of fun space to explore there, but think about it as an agent and you'll come up with some great ideas, even ones that we haven't discussed here, I think.
Fucking Digital Gladiator.
Hello. Say hello to my Digital Gladiator character. They've never lost. Who are they? This guy, Atom Smasher. Suffer brain aneurysm. Thank you. Anyway,
brain bleed.
Yeah, brain bleed. Exactly. Anyway, my time is short tonight as well. The time has come, I think, where we must say farewell.
Yep.
So chat, thank you all for hanging out with us. Those of you watching this later on YouTube and Spotify, thank you all for being here as well and for watching us. We hope that John was able to give you guys some things to think about as he has for us.
Wisdom, if you will.
Some deep wisdom. And we hope that maybe our answers in these last couple of Q&A where it's just the two of us again, like it usually is, has given you some ideas as well. But yeah, for both of us, my name's Emmerron.
I'm Diamond Dust.
And that's going to be our show for this week. Thank you all. Have a wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon wherever you're in the world. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Peace, everybody. We're out.
Bye.